All right, everyone. Good evening. My name is Esther Ijewere, and I'm your host for today on Get Working with Esther. With me today is Ayo Owodunni. Ayo, I've known Ayo for how many years now? 12 years. So this is not, this is a little bit of, an informal conversation today because Ayo is a brother. Ayo is, when I look back and I look at my journey as a person, as a women's advocate, as a social media influencer, I would say that you're one of the people who encouraged me because at that time, right, the vision was not clear. But Ayo was like, you know what, Esther, I'm going to jump you. Don't worry, I'll come be a facilitator at your program. It's not a problem. And that's the kind of support we need in the community. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you for that. And Ayo is a leadership expert. Believe me, this man is power-packed. If you need leadership, if you need guidance, right, Ayo is your go-to person. But beyond that, he's also a politician. If you would allow me to use that word, a councillor at Ward 5. Yes, you are a politician. You cannot, separate that from who you are right now. You are a politician, right? He's a councillor, in his Ward 5 in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. He's doing amazingly well. He's also the co-host and founder of the Immigrant View. Right. So you might want to follow Ayo as well. If you live in Canada or you need knowledge of how to navigate the system, you intend coming to Canada as an immigrant, please follow Ayo to learn more from him, his journey as a person, his journey, of course, as a leadership expert, as a youth advocate, right? Because that's always a good word to use for people who represent us positively. So Ayo, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you. You sold me well, though. Thank you very much. I was like, that's me.
That's why it's good to sow good seeds. I had to go on Facebook the other day, because I wanted to post, and I said I just typed the keyword, and that's a lesson for me too as a PR consultant. I just typed the keyword, and I went to my activity log, and then boom, I'm like, whoa, look at that!
Wow.
Look at that! Facebook still has this memory of that year. So
when I saw that picture, I was blown away. I didn't even know where that picture was pulled from, and I saw how the size of my neck, and I just thank God for my wife for helping me with my own life problems, because when I saw that neck of me,
sorry, but memories like that, it's always good. For me, it's personal because, like I said, the vision was not clear at the time. And because you just follow through, it was Auntie Ayo, right? From Auntie Ayo, I think we went to another school. You're like, Esther, don't worry. And one thing about Ayo is a very calm person. So when you talk about crisis management, Ayo comes for your event and you've not started, or there is something, don't worry. Just think. We are going to have a good program.
Honestly, I'll be very honest. I don't remember any of this at all. I'm trying to remember. When I saw that picture, I was blown away because of course, what shocked me was the neck, first of all. But beyond that, I don't. So I'm glad that I am a calm person. Well, thank you for that.
The seed we sow, sometimes you don't remember it, but the people we sow those seeds to, they remember it. So I think maybe that's something you should take out of the picture, right? You don't remember those events, but it's my moment. Right? It's the momentum that I've built over time. So for me, it's personal because when I share my story and I want to tell people this is my antecedent, this is how far I've come, right? So I respect the fact that you might not remember those activities again, because come on, you support a whole lot of people. So how many things do you want to remember?
Yeah. I have I do remember I was at Beat FM when that took place. I remember it was a school close to BFM.
Yes.
Ijewere was there.
Behind BFM.
Yeah.
And I remember it was the venue that was, they come like, the venue is just close to my office, no problem. So, one of my team members also saw the photo and I was like, Esther, is that me? Are you serious? Even there was another person, OCU KJ himself, like, eh?
Let's see.
So once again, thank you so much for such a powerful memory. So I'll go right into the session. Thank you, everyone. Sorry, we just had to give that intro for you to know that sometimes people go way back, right? And we need to tell those stories. There is no perspire without lived experiences and the stories that make it aspiring, right? For you to perspire for it. Ayo, first question to you today is, who is a leader?
I would say a leader is an influencer. And that could be an influencer in the home. That could be an influencer in the community. That could be an influencer at the workplace. It could be an influencer in a macro scale in the country as well. But this is an individual that can capture the attention of people, call out the best in them, and challenge them towards growth, development, or towards a vision. Amazing. So for me, I would say that is the definition of a leader.
Oh, amazing. And what makes you a leader, Ayo? Because you are a leader in your capacity. So what makes Ayo a leader? If you're going to define your role as a leader right now, going by your position, who is a leader?
I think on one end, our character and our personality plays a role in who we become. So the personality, what we develop, plays a role in who we become. Our character, what people do not see behind the scenes. So people see Ayo Owodunni out doing what I do, but people don't see Ayo Owodunni waking up very early in the morning, Ayo Owodunni exercising, Ayo Owodunni reading early in the morning, reflecting, going through my affirmations, and developing a 5-year plan and working hard and all those things. You don't see that. That is the character aspect of things. Or talking to my mentors and not just looking at my strengths, but also assessing and working on my weaknesses as well. So people don't see that part. So there's the character aspect. There's the skill aspect, the importance of developing your skills and ensuring that you are able to find out what skills you need, developing your skills matrix, and being able to just work on that. But then beyond that, there is your experience, your life experience. I think there are times where the things that life has thrown at us, we don't use it to empower us, we use it to hold us back. So how can you use the things that you've gone through in life to be able to empower you and to be able to add value to your community? Growing up, my father was not someone that was in the home. I could always, for the rest of my life, say, my papa never be there, or my papa no. See, my broken is already broken. Like my father was never there, or all those types of things. But I could also say, you know what, this has happened, and because of that, I must make sure that I am there for my children. So it's the same experience, but what do you take out of it, and what actions do you take? So those experiences of life, reflecting, learning from them, and growing through them can really help us out. So there is skill, there is character, there is personality, there is life experience, and then there's will. Just this is who I want to be, this is where I want to go, and then there's the spiritual part. God, what have you placed in my heart? What passions, and what should I be doing with my life? What should I do with my life? What is my vision? What is my goal? And that just the combination of those things really plays a critical role in you becoming an effective leader.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that takes me to, the next question, because we see a lot of people refer to themselves as leadership coach today. If you check, say 20 Instagram pages right now, at least you'll see, I kid you not, 10 people who are leadership, coaches. And I mean, I respect that. So my question is, you have been in this, leadership and thought, leadership industry for a long time. What should we look out for in a leader, right? How do we know, or how do we identify a leadership coach?
Who takes initiative in your community, in your organization, in your group? Who is that person that takes initiative? It is not about firstborn, lastborn, middleborn, all those types of things, but who out of all of them? I'm the last born of 6, by the way. And the eldest is old enough to be my mother, so who is that individual that takes initiative? That's something that you should look at. Who has the raw talent? Who has the ability to speak up for others? Who sees others and is willing to speak up for them? Who has that sense of humility within the group? Who has that drive, that push? I feel like those are key qualities that you should constantly be looking for when you're working with people, to find it, to nurture it, to encourage them through it, so that they can grow and become. Most of the time, people see things in us more than we see in ourselves. And unfortunately, that's just life. I think that's just life, where we don't see it most of the time. It's been beaten out of us. The belief in self has been beaten out of us. And then it takes people to see it in you to be able to pull it out of you. So I think that is also important, to find the right people to surround yourself with, to be able to help you through that process.
Amazing. And, just to take on from what you said, in people, who see things in us, I'm going to go back to the photo once again, right? And the impact in that time. But you cannot even remember that activity. And that's why I tell people kindness is very important. In everything you do, wherever you find yourself, you might not be there, but just be human. For me, I remember it, and I remember it because that was a period where, we call it hustle. You want to be seen and heard. So you're reaching out to people and all that. So thank you so much for that point. And let's go right into the topic of today, right? How important is community service to leadership?
Community service is so crucial. It is so crucial. If we leave our communities, if we decide not to do anything in our community, then who's going to pick up the slack? A few years ago, I read a book called The Jewish Phenomenon, and it just talked about how the Jews as a community, basically it was a study by a professor where the individual focused on what makes the community so successful. And he just did a lengthy study, and he was able to pull some learnings from it. And I encourage as many people as possible to read that book, just the power of community thinking, the power of working together. And many times we all wait for someone else to take leadership. Someone else should do something about this. There's trash in gutter. Someone else should fix it. There is this happening. Someone else should do something about it. But when you take initiative, it creates a ripple effect that forces people to also move. So it is really, really crucial and important. Yesterday, I was meeting with the president of, not the country, the president of the Liberian community here in Kitchener-Waterloo, and we were just having a chat, and he talked about how he started an NGO back in Liberia. He's over here. Started an NGO in Liberia. He is adding value to people in need in Liberia. I believe it's the blind community, those that don't have sight. So he's working with them, with them in Liberia. He's launching it there. He's raising money across Canada. He's flying to Australia. He's doing several things to raise funds to add value, skill sets, and those things to the lives of these individuals so they can get off the streets begging and be able to, have some tangible skills, some solid skills. So, of course, he's asking me and talking to me about it, and, I'm encouraging, I'm listening. And then he said, a few months from now, we're going to have a big grand launch in Liberia. We're going to invite the president of Liberia and the ministers there to do something. So this is someone that saw a need. He's not even there. He's over here. But he saw a need back home. He flew back home. He set this thing up. He's getting it started. He's raising funds around. The easiest thing we could say is, well, what about all the people back home? But the fact that this is something that was placed in his heart and is doing something about it is adding so much value. Now, later on, the government might jump in and support him. And so many people might jump in and support, but it took him taking initiative to be able to create that ripple effect that hopefully in a year, 2 years from now, the lives of those people are going to be totally different. And we need more and more people like that across the world. Rather than wait for someone to make the change, be the change that you're looking for in your community and watch the ripple effect take place.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm happy that you use Liberia as an example. Africa, literally. Thank you so much for that. Now, you are a leader and representing your ward at this time. how are you using your position to create change and to raise leaders, in your ward and in Kitchener as a whole?
Thank you. I mean, one of the first things that I did was needs analysis of what are the concerns and the issues of the ward. So when the campaign was going on, my team and I will realize, first of all, we are talking to people that have previously voted. Because, as you go through the campaign, you get a voters list and you go to them because they're higher likely they will vote again. Mm-hmm. But we also noticed that there's a large percentage of people in the community that do not vote, that their voices are not heard, and they don't even know who I am. So we are redeveloping a new strategy around how do we start to speak and connect with these individuals, apart from just those that vote. Politics is privilege anywhere in the world. It's usually people that are doing well financially, they're in a good place, that go into politics, and it's usually people that are doing well financially, that pay attention to politics and end up going to vote as well. That I would say more in North America. So for me, we're ensuring that we're paying attention to the needs of the community. That is really, really important. Also, I ensure that I surround myself with mentors and people that have been in this space for a while, so I can keep learning and keep growing. Buying the books, talking to the right people to ensure that that knowledge is growing and expanding. I think that is also really, really important. Another key thing that I'm ensuring that I am doing is that continuous, we built a strategy for the next 4 years. How do I ensure that I'm meeting the needs of the people of Ward 5? So these are the complaints that they gave us, that was highlighted. And then, okay, this is a strategy that we're putting together to meet those needs. So it's printed on my wall. It's right on the wall. It's big. We're putting it in my office as well. It's in front of my, what is it called, treadmill. So when I'm doing my walks in the morning, it's something I can look at and gives me something to think about as well. So just that constant reminder around that. And then in line with what you said, how do we ensure that we're able to get more people who are interested in serving their community the opportunity to be able to learn from what I've done? So I'm currently working on a book around this as well to be able to, it will be my third book around, if you're looking to run for office, this is what you can do and what you should do. And not just that, there is a team that reached out to me and said, hey, we want to learn. And I said, I'm very busy. If you can handle the admin aspect of it, then I can come teach, and they're open to it. So we're going to work on a partnership as well on that to be able to share that with those that are willing to serve in the community. And what are we looking for? We're identifying our qualities: humility, passion to serve, you're willing to listen, you're willing to work hard, and you're smart, intelligence. So if you have those things, we're willing to work with you through that process as well.
Yeah, is this open to just people in Kitchener, or it's general?
Well, I'll say mostly people in Canada. It's not for Nigerian politics. It's just more for the Canadian style politics. Although, if you want to go into Nigerian politics, there are people there. There's Banky W, who's doing a phenomenal job. You can learn from his story. Ayo Israel and I sat down 11 years ago. I still remember at KFC at the Ikeja Mall, and we talked about the desire to serve our community at a larger scale. And Dayo is with APC now. He's the Minister of Youth, I believe. So there. At that point, Ayo Israel and I were still sharing 1,000 naira to buy for one another, that type of stuff. So it just talks about the power of a vision, knowing where you want to go and being so intentional about doing it.
I can
teach you about Nigeria, but I can probably focus more on Canada.
Yes, amazing. And I'm going to ask you this, question. What inspired you to go into politics?
I've always been passionate about serving in the community at one capacity or another. And I just noticed since I've been here that there are gaps. There are gaps. And just like every other leader, leaders easily identify gaps. They go into a space and they see problem, and they see problem, and see opportunity as well. So if you're a person that sees problem in lots, it might be a seed being planted in you. You might need to just start reframing and thinking of, okay, what's the opportunity here? Or what can I do about this problem that I'm seeing? So I saw that and I just felt, I've served on boards. I currently am on the board of Leadership Waterloo Region, which puts together leadership programs for leaders within our community. So the mayor, the police chief, so many other leaders within the community. I've gone through Leadership Waterloo curriculum, and it's a transformational curriculum. I've served with the Nigerian Association, with the African Association, so in different capacities in different places as well. And I just felt this was the next level in terms of really serving the community at a larger scale. So it's still the heart of service. It's just a different portfolio.
Yep, I wanted you to talk about that because, I'm sure there are people who not just watch it here, but on my YouTube channel, which is going to be there for a long time. So I wanted them to see that beyond the passion, you also wanted to serve, right? Because these days when people hear politics, just at least everybody's going into it, right? So this is Canada politics. It's not Niger politics, like you said. So Ayo, before I ask you, the next question and before we wrap up, the show, as a leader, what are some nuggets you can share with us, right? There are young people who are going to watch this online. If you can mentor somebody right now who is probably trying to find a way in life, right? Generally, just trying to find a way, they're confused and they need clarity, what would you tell them? What are some of the things you tell them to do?
I'll tell you what you can do. In 2012 or 2011, I was still living at home with family, and I put pictures on my wall of what I wanted to be. I encourage you to start there. I had a picture of Patrick Wankwogo. He used to be a publisher of a magazine in Nigeria called Exceed Magazine, a leadership magazine. I had his picture up on my wall. I had Fela Durotoye's picture up on my wall. Bankole Williams had just written his book at that point, Engaged to a Job I Hate. So I had a picture of Bankole's book on my wall as well. And every morning when I prayed, I would walk up to these different pictures and I would have a conversation with God on what I want to do in the future. That was 11 years ago. I have authored a book. I have had an opportunity to lead. I run my own consulting firm. I have consulting clients. So all the things that I prayed about, interestingly, did end up coming to pass. It's just interesting that there are times when we are moving so fast in life that we don't even realize that 10 years ago, this was all a dream. This was all a dream. I was telling my wife a few weeks ago, excuse me, I'm looking to shut down this aspect because I'm looking to focus on something else. And I'm too busy to focus on this area. And she laughed. And I'm like, oh, what's so funny? She said, 6 years ago, this was all you dreamed about. Now it's like I'm too busy to do it. But that was all you dreamed about. So I want to make sure that I stay grateful around that. Another thing, please be happy regardless of where you are and what you're going through. Be grateful. One of the biggest traps that we all fall into is when I get here, I will be happy. And what happens, the reality is when you get there, the way our brain works, that goal has been accomplished. It's like, you start thinking of the next goal. Then suddenly you reset and say, when I get here, I will be happy. And you can go through that cycle repeatedly until you never reach happiness. So you need to make a commitment to yourself. I will be happy and joyful today. I lost many years of my life to sadness and depression because of when I get there. But then when you do get there, you have forgotten about it there because you are thinking of another level. So that is really important. Another thing is be so intentional. Be intentional. If you had all the money in the world and you had no problems, what would you like to do? Write it down. And then start pursuing it. It was a crazy idea for me to run for office here. There are not many Nigerians in Kitchener.
Yes.
Out of all the doors that I knocked on, I probably knocked on 10 people's doors that are black, that looked like me. So it was a it was, I was running against someone that's been here for 40 years. Another person has been here for 26 years.
Wow.
So I've only been in the country, not even just Kitchener, in the country for 6 years. So the odds were stacked against me. But are you willing to work hard? Be intentional, write down what you would like to do, and then develop a plan. And if your plan doesn't work, so what? Try another plan. If that one doesn't work, then try another plan. Just keep trying. Just like Tony Robbins says, how long does it take a child to walk? Like, if a child falls down 5 times, do we say, you know what, you have tried enough. It's not your gift. You know, it's not God's will for you. You try 5 times, maybe it's not the. No, you say that child will keep trying until they walk. That's a strategy we all use as parents. Why can't we use it for our own lives as well?
Amazing.
So, yeah, be intentional and pursue it. Pursue it with your heart.
Yeah. And, you know, just to take on something you said, that when you get to a stage, you want to move on. And you also mentioned something you discussed with your wife, that there is something you want to drop now. You used to do, you used to be passionate about it. At what point, you know, as a leader, as a youth advocate, should you know that you got to evolve? Like, listen, this is not serving the purpose anymore. You know, I need to drop this and evolve to something new. Because a lot of us sometimes, you know, along the line, we develop different skills. You can be a radio presenter in 2012. The following year, you're in climate change. I mean, I see that happening all the time, right? And then the next one, you are trying to go into politics, you know, to serve, right? Perhaps not in your own capacity, like, you know, in any other capacity. Just let me put my head here. Let me do this. Let me do that. So at what point, right? Because life is not fair, to be honest, to a lot of people. But at what point should you say, listen, I need to drop this baggage. I need to evolve. What are some of the things that you would notice in that moment that should nudge you to evolve?
Well, I would first start off by saying it's important that you self-reflect regularly. Have some time to, don't wait till New Year, but have some time to sit down. Where am I now? Where do I want to be? How do I plan to get there? What is my goal? Many times we are waiting for the voice of God to tell us exactly what to do. I don't know about you. You know, some of you are very close to Papa God. Like both of you, you know, there are people that God said this to me this morning. God told me which chicken to fry this morning. Unfortunately, I don't get that kind of constant whatever. But I have a firm belief that He is with me every step of the way. I have a firm belief that even if this is not it, it will lead me to what where it is and what it is as well. So that is my conviction, you know, at the end of the day. So I'm not concerned or afraid of, is this it? I am more about, let me learn what I need to learn from this as I move towards what it is, and lead me in the direction of where that is. So I think that is really important. Yeah. Another thing is, before I even respond to that, every skill set, you don't lose your skill sets.
Yes.
So don't be afraid of, my years on radio, is it a waste of time? I have people that come to me and comment, rather, like, oh, you communicate effectively. Thank you very much. But I remember those years that I hated being on radio because my salary was very low. But I didn't know that was preparing me for the future. So I'm like, 100,000 naira, what's all this now? Like, what? You know, my mates are in oil and gas. My mates are here.
Talk. All this talk. 100K.
Talk, blah, 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 blah. You know, so then I started emceeing to add more to the salary. But I didn't know all those skills were preparing me for something in the future. So it was refining me. It was helping me. It was developing that skill so that now I can come on this show and be able to at least communicate my thoughts with you without any notes, because on radio you didn't have notes. You know, most of the time, I worked in talk radio. I don't know about the US, but I was talk radio. So things can change last minute, and they bring somebody in and you have to have a conversation with them for 30 minutes and you have no notes. All they give you is, this is who this person is, and you have to do it. So it's just like, no, wow. You know, and you're talking to someone, you have no idea what the next question is going to be. So all those things really prepared me and helped me reach where I am today. And I'm very grateful to God for all those, for the journey that I've been on. So please, wherever you're doing now, just do it with all your heart. I look back and I think to myself, what if I put my 100% into some of those things that I did, but I just didn't enjoy it, so I felt it's not God's will for me, so I didn't do it well. But now I'm going, what if I put 100% and not 60%? Where would I be, you know, in terms of my development? So whatever it is, put your heart into it. So now to your question. I had to put all those preamble before the question. Yes. How do you know? Number one, I think it's important that you self-reflect repeatedly and regularly. Number two, I did an exercise that Stephen Covey said we should all do. If you're 80 years old and it's your birthday and your children are talking about you, what would they say about you? If you are arriving in heaven and God is introducing you, what would he say about you? Like, write those things down and then build a plan towards it.
That's powerful.
So everything else is a means to an end for me. But I want to make sure that my children are proud of me. I want to make sure the family is proud of me. I want to make sure my wife is happy to be with me. You know, and those things are really important to me. So whatever it is I'm doing, those are filters that are in my head that are able to help me through.
Yeah. So random question, would you go back to radio again if you have the opportunity? Just because I know, you know, in politics, you keep evolving, right? The other day I was telling somebody, I was trying to sell you, like I tried to sell my guests. I said, Ayo Owodunni. I said, he's a counselor. I said, the next stage is going to be this, it's going to be that. Because I went online to check, you know, the hierarchy, you know, how people, right, rise in position here. And I'm like, wait, like play, I of it become, you know, me kind of talk so you don't in this Canada, right? So that's why I'm asking you, because I have seen people, you know, people like Barack Obama, right? You know, after they serve, they want to go back to something they enjoy. Like Barack right now would post music every year. And you're seeing different people, different artists, even people you don't know. But he vibes with them, right? So at some point, you know, would Ayo Owodunni think of going back to radio, even if it's just for fun, you know, is that something that you want folks to look up for in the future?
You never know. You never know what the future holds.
Yes.
If someone told me I'd been in politics 10 years ago, I'll laugh at them, like me. Yeah, you never know what the future holds. Interestingly, I want to give a big shout out to Dave Schneider, one of our fellow counselors. Dave has approached me. Dave works on radio, and he said, "Ayo, would you be come to the studio?" I said, "No. Don't say come to the studio, because that's how they trap you. You know, it's first come to the studio. Then, hold the microphone. Oh, let me just increase the volume. Just say something." And that radio bug, once it catches you, it never lets you go. There is a Nigerian lady that works for one of the big banks here in Canada. She just started her own podcast last year. She used to work at Enugu Broadcasting Services. I don't want to mention her name, but she used to work in Enugu Broadcasting Services for NYSC, and her background is in communications, and she worked in media. And she just started her own podcast. And when she wrote on LinkedIn, she said, you know, radio never leaves you.
No.
There's a way that it just finds a way it finds you repeatedly. It's such a beautiful platform. I love it a lot. You never know what the future holds. You might see an Ayo Owodunni show in the future. Who knows? I love radio, and if there's an opportunity in the future, we might see something happen in the future.
Okay, thank you so much for putting that out there. So I've set you up a little in a good way now. This is going to be on YouTube, so somebody.
I hope Dave is not listening, because Dave on Monday night said, "Hey, so you said."
I watched that thing when you were on that show. You said, "Okay, so contract, just
come," and that's what he's been saying for like 3 months. Just come, just show up, just come. It's okay, Dave. It's okay. Thank you.
And that's another thing about skill set, like you said. I always tell people it's innate. Right? What you have, what you've learned, you cannot unlearn the skill set that in some, at some point it will like give you joy. And I remember your voice on radio then, and the program. I mean, I'm very proud of how far you've come. And of course, I need to ask you, you've been in office for a bit now. How does it feel? At that moment, you just sit and say, "I'm on a wow." Now, so life just like play. Do you have moments like that? Like, just those moments like, I be councillor, no before Bomosho, Canada. Well, Bomosho people, my apologies. There's no disrespect to you all. That was the first thing that came to my head. I could also use Edo State, please, so that somebody will use it against me in the future. So, I mean, I need to ask you, at a moment like that, like, you just sit and, you just, your me time when you're doing your own self-reflection. Do you have those moments?
There are many times where, even when I'm praying, I have a prayer list, that I go through, and I see the list of my prayer points from 6 months ago.
Wow.
And Councillor is there. And, so I want to encourage, write down some of your prayer points. And then a year, 2 years later, and just watch what, God has done. So I look back and I'm just like, wow, that is amazing. I mean, you're going through the list and you're seeing how they're being answered,
Yeah.
So yes, there are times where I'm like, wow. I remember the first time, the night that I won, I got a call, and I was called Councillor of Ward. But it was said effortlessly, with no issue. And then the very next week, I'm in the office for orientation, and everyone, by the way, I asked everybody to call me Ayo now, because I'm not that councillor. Yeah, just call me Ayo or AY, whatever you want. Just let's keep it simple. But every single person called me Councillor of Ward. And, you're looking like, is my papa around? That they are, what do they hear? That they are calling his name like this. So for me, that was a wow moment. And I'm honestly, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I want to give kudos to every resident of Ward 5 for giving me an opportunity to serve you. Thank you very much. Yep. To all my colleagues that I work with on a weekly basis, we have long meetings. We were all together yesterday again, and I enjoy the conversations that I have with them, where I get to learn, where they're asking questions, where they've been in council for 3 terms, 4 terms, but they're asking questions and I'm asking questions, and it's just an opportunity for us to work together. So I'm just grateful for life. It will be the best way to put it.
And we're also grateful for you. We are grateful that, years to come, people are going to reference your journey. And I need you to know that now, right? People are going to reference. No, I mean, it's the way it is. You've broken the boundary right now to say it is possible, right? And I feel that is, one of the most powerful lessons you can teach anyone in life, just for them to look at you, come on your page to say, wow. Of course, and that's my last question that I'm going to ask you. For a young person a young immigrant who just, in Canada, trying to navigate the system, trying to find their voice, right? What would you tell this person if they came to you to say, bro, please, how you take one? Just give me, in Niger slang, show me the way. Let me say it that way. They show me the way, like, bro, give me the step by step, how I fit, become this person, that you are right now, right? Yeah.
Number one, there's a great book by Matt Adolphe. It's called Canadian Workplace Culture. Matt, Adophe. I always encourage everyone to read it. For me, it gives you Expo, as we will say, back home. It's an amazing book that talks about the workplace culture here in Canada. If you want to navigate the system well, you need to understand the culture. And for you to understand the culture, you need to be able to read such a book so you can better integrate yourself into the culture. That's number one. Number two, I always ask, where do you want to be in 10 years? It always seems so far away for people. And I think the danger in life is we are so focused on just now and eating and paying rent and taking care of now, we don't dream about the future. And where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Write it down. And then let's develop a plan to get there. But I don't just want to ask you where do you want to be career-wise. How much money do you want to be making in 10 years' time? You know, if 10 years is too far, start with 5. How much money do you want to be making? What degree do you need to have to make that money?
Mm-hmm.
You know, where will you take that degree? What university or college?
Mm-hmm.
And then, go and take the degree. We are so blessed in Canada when you come here. Like, it is, the opportunity is endless.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my mentors said something to me, don't ever get into that whole, someone holds you back. The only thing that can hold you back is you.
Yes.
So don't allow, this is happening, there's racism. I'm not saying there are none of those things. Yes, they are. There are things. But you know what you've been through in Nigeria. If I just think of NYSC camp alone, let's not even talk about anything else. These sufferhead that we all went through, it is no match.
And it's not that you have to manage.
Abi, Nigeria has prepared you for this. You remember all this suffering that we suffered? Now it's an opportunity to channel your energy in that. So in this area. Another thing is work on your communication skills. In my opinion, the best gift that you would have here is your communication skills and your network. So work on your communication skills. Go to Toastmasters and give a speech every 2 weeks. Give a speech every 2 weeks. In a year, you've given 26 speeches. You're going to get feedback 26 times. Go to different Toastmasters because then you get different skill sets and different sets of people. Then you build your network. When you come here, you know like 5 people or less. When you're in Nigeria, you know many, hundreds of people. You are going out, you can drop the kids somewhere. Whose shoulder are you going to cry on when you're going through something? You got to build a personal support system. Who is going to help you with a job opportunity? There's a hidden job market. 75% of jobs are not advertised. You got to know that. I got a job once where I was told to go write a job description for myself. There was no job description. It was like, we are thinking of this. Go and write it for us. And it was a year ahead of when the job was even available. So think about that as well. That's number 2. Your career network, like those that will help you find a job, and then your 5-year network. In other words, if I want to be somewhere 5 years from now, who do I need to know that will help me get there in 5 years? So I needed to be a politician. I wanted to be a politician. 4 or 5 years ago, I started building a network in this space, and when it was time to run for election, I started calling them. So how do you build that network? How do you nurture that network? Because it's a 4 or 5 year network. You can't email somebody 5 years later, I remember me from 5 years ago. You're not going to get the quality of help you need in comparison to once a quarter, you're connecting with that individual over a period of time. So that is your 5-year network is also so crucial. You just have to be so intentional. So if you're going to send me a message online, tell me where you want to be in 5 years, and then we can start a conversation. Please don't just say, I want to be happy or successful. I probably will not answer because I don't have the time. But do something. Do something. Esther, sorry, I need to just share this. I know I've rambled for too long. But there's a story that I'm sharing with everyone now. The person replied me on LinkedIn today, and I'm so blown away by the story. I was on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, and there's this individual that could not find a job in South Africa.
Oh my God.
He said he couldn't find a job for 2-3 years. So you know what he did? He bought one of those coffee things that they have in stores, where you press a button and coffee will come out or whatever. He bought it, and then he was standing in traffic in South Africa, and was selling coffee to people. And why? Because I can't find a job. For 2-3 years, I've been looking for, I'm sick and tired of sitting at home. I need to do something. So he's doing that, and then somebody filmed him and put it on LinkedIn. I saw it on LinkedIn, so I sent him a message. And we've been chatting for about a month now. So the question that was asked was, how can we help you grow and expand? So he said, this is what this thing costs. So we're able to send some money to him. So he's buying another one, and he's going to give it to someone. Now he's going to have an employee. You know?
Amazing.
So I followed up with him today that, hey, it's been a few weeks. How far was going on? He said some other people are talking to him about franchising. They want to help him with branding. So that he has his own logo, his own branding. And they're ready to support him to further expand. So this person went from not having a job just a few months ago. And the way God works, you take initiative and he follows you. And now he's ready to buy another one, give it to someone else that will now be, I don't know how they're going to work out, whether the person pays him a percentage or whatever, but they're going to do that. Other people are coming on as well. He could have sent me a message and say, Oga, see this life. You know, it's tough. And I'll have said, I'm so sorry, you know.
Pity party.
Pity party is not going to get you anywhere. But he took initiative. And someone saw it, posted it online. And then people are now asking him. There were hundreds of comments on the video saying, how can we help you? And now the guy is blown away by all the support he's getting, whereas he didn't have a job a few months ago. Now he's going to become a business owner. So it's just the power of being intentional and taking initiative. We all go through tough times. But how do you respond to the tough time? It's really
sounds like the story sounds like for the sake of using a good word, let me call it soft or pro. I mean, a mini dragon's den. Let me, because I'm really picking my words. This is going to be on YouTube. And I know my people, before they scatter my comments. So, I watched something on, because I have a platform for men as well called Men Who Inspire. Where for me, it's just me celebrating you guys, because I feel like a lot of men are not celebrated enough. And because men don't have time for this pettiness, you guys don't care. As long as the money is made, right? So I don't see men trying to be out there, right? And the story, Dragon's Den, this guy came on Dragon's Den. He shared this idea. They didn't buy it. They're like, no. And then they went to Richard Branson, right? Or Richard Branson watched that show and said, listen, come pitch to me. And then he pitched the idea to him and he invested in the business. Now he's a judge on Dragon's Den.
Wow.
Because
yes.
On all of them. He has more money than all of the judges. So he has also been able to sort of like have some sort of empathy and humanity into the way they say no. Meaning, don't write people off outrightly. So when you guys want to say no and tell them, go and do better. But when you say no, like, listen, this idea is not even going to work at all. Just forget about it, right? But he's a judge. And that reel got a lot of traction on my page. And it made me realize one thing. People want to be motivated by success story. They want to hear stories that are relatable, right? If it is going to inspire me, let me know your perspire. Meaning, don't just give me...
Esther, you have to aspire to perspire and inspire.
Don't just tell me you arrived there, right? Because, see what you've shared today. You've broken down your journey. A lot of people, perhaps there are people who didn't even know you had a background in radio. They are going to watch it on my YouTube and they're like, whoa, right? Because I'm going to use your name as a key phrase. So when they start Ayo Owodunni, see you, don't do radio before. If you become mayor tomorrow, no go to us say this guy don't work. We don't work the work down. You should not say it, right? So, and we wish you all the best. And I'm so happy that, I have this moment. Speaking of evolving, 11 years ago as well, I wouldn't have thought that the career you had, speaking, walking, interviewing people, is what I'm going to be doing with you, because you were the one that came for my own event to do that for students.
Wow.
Life and its twist and turn. So the excitement that I had to invite you, it's just me saying I need to pay it forward. I need to pay it forward to somebody who at that time, he can't even remember the kindness now. But because I reached out and he said, listen, Esther, it's close to my office. I'm going to give you guys this minute. I'll come down, talk to the student. How many are them? How many are they? And you came and I wish we recorded, that it was that time. And there's only no day to record all those kinds. But you won't get sponsored. And I'm saying this to you guys. When you see people's story, please know the history. I tell people all the time, nobody arrived, at that success junction without some sacrifice. Well, except from some other kind of people, right? But when you see folks like Ayo and they're talking about the passion, the story, they put in the work over the years, the sacrifice many of us can't even see because, you know, when they've evolved, they don't talk about that. So Ayo, your final word for folks out there, those who are going to watch, those who are, you know, going to probably reach out to you. Yes, listen, don't go and reach out and say, I'm not happy. Reach out for something tangible. When I reached out to Ayo, I went power, straight to the point. I want to invite you for my show, right? I mean, we all go through stuff. We all go through problems. Like you said, I go through a whole lot of stuff. He's going through stuff. Believe me, we all have our moments in life, right? So, Ayo, just something for folks out there who are going to watch this on my YouTube channel and just to encourage them before you go.
I want to first say thank you to you. Thank you for inviting me. I do appreciate it. I feel so bad that I don't remember from back then, but I'm really glad
we remember you because my team, and that's another thing about loyalty. My team was still together, like they're still like people, so they remember you. People like Osi Ukeje, Eniola Joshua, Omojua.
Omojua was there?
No, he was not there. He was at another program, but Omojua was a part of my team. Then Omojua was the one that prepared the concept notes.
Wow.
You see life? So the concept note that I took to sponsors, he was the one that fleshed out the idea to say, Esther, don't limit it to one community. Don't limit it to one local government. Why don't we do different regions across Lagos, right? Wow. And do this and do that. So he sort of like helped in helping me understand the vision. You know, that's so I think at some point I might have even mentioned when we had our meeting, like, these are the facilitators, you know. So, I mean, yeah, you see, you didn't even know the people on the back end who were doing the work.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to listen. Thank you for watching to this point. I do appreciate it. I was born and raised in Ojodu, Lagos. I went to an Prismoni Children's School. Came from humble beginnings, but I know something that was really important to my family, to my mother especially, was education. She felt education is your gateway to anything you wanted to do in your life. And she always talked about being close to God. So I've kept those two things very, very important to me. I'm passionate about education and also staying close to God. So please remember those things. You have all the resources inside of you. You are very blessed. You're tremendously blessed. One of my mentors here, I'll end with this story and then I'm done. I know I'm rambling for too long.
No, you're not.
I went for a meeting with politicians once, and after the meeting was over, I met with one of my mentors, a former MP, equivalent to Senator Nigeria. And he said, "How did the meeting go?" I said, "I was intimidated." He said, "What? What are you talking about?" I was like, "I was the only black person in the room." And he said, and his response was, "And why is that a problem?" And then I stopped. And then I said to myself, I felt like the scales fell off my eyes immediately. Because the way he asked the question, he's like, "And why is that a problem?" And it's like, why am I the only... I entered the room. Nobody ever said, "You are black." But I'm the one that entered and said,
I'm black.
I am only from Ojodu. I don't know. I'm only from an Arab. I do common entrance in primary 6, not primary 4, like, oh my. You know, like, I started limiting myself in my mind. Like, why is that a problem? And I want to bring that to you. Why is it a problem that you are from Ojuelegba, or you are from Okoko Michael, or you are from Kitty? Why is that a problem? Why is it a problem that you took your common entrance 6 times? Why is that a problem? That is part of your story. That is the power that you've been given. That is, what do you have in your hand? You have your story, you have your experience, you have your skills. That is part of the resources that you've been given.
Yes.
So please, ever since then, by the way, I never allow that thing to be an issue again. I walk in anywhere now. I literally walk in with that voice in my head of that sense, like, why is that a problem?
Why is that a problem?
If you don't see it, then nobody else is going to bring it up or talk about it. It's when you bring it and make it an issue.
That's powerful. Thank you so much. And before you go, I need to say special shout out to Praise Fowowe.
Praise!
Thank you so much. He was so intentional. Speaking of being intentional, Esther, do not give up. You've invited him Ayo before. Reach out again. Yes, reach out again. Do not give up. Like, don't give up easily, right? He's going to find time. And I think, like you said, with these people like that, we need support systems who are going to say, listen, you knocked the door once. It doesn't mean the door is not going to open again. So, PF, this is me showing my gratitude to say thank you so much, right? And this win today, because if I are not, tomorrow night become some, PM.
You played it for
them. So let me drop the names of people because, one thing I learned about Oprah Winfrey recently, she was so intentional about the future that there are videos from the past people are referencing now. Oprah would intentionally drop the name of Dr. Phil, right? Because she wanted to pay it forward. And now Oprah is Oprah and Dr. Phil is Dr. Phil. There is a balance, right? So someone can go pick up that picture. They will know it's not, because then nobody's I'm farmsing. So that's why I'm saying this.
I beg farms. I beg, look for someone in Photoshop. I can reduce down my neck size. Not that
that photo, I'm sure somebody must have taken a screenshot, all those fast fingers. But listen, it is the beauty of your story, especially your Canadian, family, your support system here. A lot of them met you here at, this chapter of your life. I think it is important for our stories to be told sometimes. I love it when people send my throwback pictures, even if my neck is like tolo tolo. It's not the neck that matters, it's who I am now.
It's true. But please, Photoshop people, I bet help a brother out to reduce the neck.
Oh, I want to reduce your neck. But I took the good ones, so there are some of them. Let me tell you the truth. I had to go through those and say, I'll take the good one. Because this man is a politician. One person not go put this one for front cover page. Yes, why now? You for tell me before you post it. So thank you so much, Ayo. It's been amazing having you. Hopefully, I've been speaking of evolving, speaking of dreams. My dream is to make this into a TV thing. But I'm willing to learn on the job. So this is my own learning curve. I'm going to come back to these videos as well in the future to say, it was a moment, a learning curve. So thank you, Ayo, for being part of my moment and my story today. And of course, taking time out of your very, very busy schedule. I for ask you as a dance politician, say, no, we'll drop Ishakole. Like Nigerians. But I'm just I thought my friend yesterday, I said, it isn't a Nigerian politician. Look at the conversation. We talked about leadership. So thank you so much. Thank you. You've impacted me today. Thank you for being amazing. Thank you for making us proud. Like I said, your story is going to be told, I believe it, by a lot of people. We're going to reference you to let people know it is possible, right? And I hope that, of course, I'll be able to, maybe bring other politicians who are Nigerians, like yourself, on that show, to let people know it is possible. Because most of the people back home, I think the only thing they think about is a skill set of being an immigrant here, like go work in the office, frontline work. A lot of us don't want to go into your space because we think nobody would give us a seat at the table. Now you've told us that people would give you a seat if you demand for the seat, if you tell them you are capable of the seat. So Ayo, thank you very much once again. God bless you and your amazing family. Thanks for coming on my show. Guys, if you have any question for Ayo, please send. He's a very busy person. So, but then go to his DM. Go to his DM and remember that accessibility is not availability. If he's not able to respond, don't take it personal, right? People are busy. All right. Thank you so much once again. This is going to be available on my YouTube channel. Thank you, Ayo. Have a beautiful evening and God bless you.
All right. Bye-bye.